In Love is presented by Smile Direct Club, who makes it easier than ever to straighten your smile without brackets, wires, and monthly office visits.
For $100 off your aligners, just go to smiledirectclub.com/podcast and use the offer code
In Love.
Welcome to In Love with Michael Rosenbaum
And Chris Sullivan,
where we explore the universal language of love,
walk through the struggles of love lost,
and together navigate the bumpy and gratifying road to happiness.
Loving me, loving myself, working on my state of mental health, and I never thought it would go this far. You said we'd just be friends, but I'm standing here full of emptiness. I confess, I'm a beautiful mess.
You know that intro, that song, it just never gets old, does it?
You like it?
Yeah, it just reminds me of something.
What does it remind you of?
I don't know.
Does it remind you that you are a talented and valuable soul who has a gift of creativity to give the world?
You know what? You hear those dogs?
Yeah.
We're just going to leave them in
Yeah.
for this particular episode. You know, sorry, Mia, but not another perfectly sound, tonally beautiful episode. We're going to start it out with some barks.
This is real life.
I'll still take
It's
them out in
real
post.
life.
People are still not going to hear them. They're just going to hear you talking about
Is
them.
that true?
Sure.
You could still take those out.
I'm pretty good.
Man, you are. That's true.
Well, yeah, I know that. It was fun. It's fun. You've made an album. You've made a couple albums.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fulfilling. But I never thought I would ever make an album. So
yeah,
it's cool.
It's one of those. It just kind of happens, right? You write a couple of songs, and you're like, oh no, we got 3 or 4 songs. Might as well have 5 or 6. And then you get 7 or 8, and you're like, I wonder what this would sound like with a bunch of friends playing behind it. And all of a sudden, that elevates it, and you're like, oh, I'm in love with these songs now. And you play them a couple of times, and then you hate them, and you're like, these songs are crap. And then you listen to them again.
And then they're produced, and you have all these things, and you get to a certain place.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, these aren't. But what's funny is difference between you and I is that, or you and me. What do you say? What would you say?
Thee and thou.
The difference between thee and thou is, Chris, you have, I think, this innate. Well, you have a gift for singing that you have this soul, deep soul for singing, and it comes natural to you. So I've always felt embarrassed to open my mouth and sing something. But over the years, every once in a while, someone will go, "Hey, that sounded pretty good," mixed in with dude, don't sing.
See, this is.
So it was very hard for me to do this.
This
man.
is. I did your record sounds great. People have this idea that there are singers and non-singers, and it's just not true. I did this workshop of a musical back in New York where the main thesis was recorded music the birth of music or the death of music? Because as soon as you commodify it, as soon as you record it and say, this is what music sounds like, people start to go, oh, well, I can't do that. I can't sing like Adele, so I can't sing.
That's what I said. I said, I can't sing like Adam Lambert, so why should I sing? But it's like,
if you listen to some of our greatest singer-songwriters of all time, they cannot sing. Bob Dylan cannot sing.
he has his own special way. When I hear some songs, I'm like, hey, that sounds, how many roads? Yeah, there's some moments, but he has his own unique thing. So the key is, whether it's singing or whatever, be unique, be different to whatever you do, and just
Be
commit
honest.
to it. Be honest.
Some of my favorite singers are John Prine, one of my favorite artists of all time, would not be considered one of the great vocalists, but you believe every word that comes out of his mouth.
Did you see Rolling Stone? The article that came out, it said the top 100 singers of all time. Do you know Neil Young was like 40s and Steve Perry barely made the list? Steve Perry's voice as a singer is. So who the fuck,
Exactly. So if you're out there telling yourself, oh, I can't paint like Van Gogh, so I'm not a painter. No, if you paint, you're a painter. If you like to sing, you're a singer. You can be whatever you want to be.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that. You could be whatever you want to be, but there comes a point where you're like, hey, you got to know if
Listen, the difference between you and I is that we have turned our creativity into careers where we make money. And so the line gets blurred between our job and what we love to do.
Yeah, that was a question about this. If we're going to be honest, it's about this podcast. because getting a podcast off the ground is so difficult. And it's like, you look around you and I'm like, hey, our numbers aren't with that guy and we're just starting. And then I start thinking, well, wait a minute. All that's great if you can make some money doing something you love. But if you really love it and you can do it.
These conversations have been some of the best I've ever had in my life. So there's the value.
There's the value. If you come over here for the next 10, let me ask you something. If let's say, we have an advertiser, they're great. I love Smile Direct. They believed in us. They're amazing. I love their product. We've talked about them all the time. My teeth are fucking straight, man. I swear to God. No. I'm not kidding. Look,
I can see. Yeah.
Look.
Yeah, I see.
I haven't been using the whitening as much as I probably should, but look at that. Look. Straight, dude.
For those listening.
Yeah.
Those teeth be straight.
I swear to God. So it works.
Yeah.
But let's say next year this time, I'm like, wow, we haven't had another sponsor. You still want to do it?
I mean, as long as we are still pushing ourselves, and as long as we're still learning, as long as we can still find people who want to come and talk to us.
That's true. I mean, it's also very difficult because on my podcast, Inside You, as you guys know, it's easier to get one person. Chris, are you busy?
Right.
I am. I could probably swing around. But if you go, Chris, how's your wife?
Yeah, right.
Can you and your wife come by?
Yeah.
Well, she's got the kid. You don't.
And I think that's probably what we need to start doing too. Is this isn't necessarily a couples podcast. We're talking to people about the things that they love and the things that they're grateful for.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily need to be another person. There are plenty of people out there who are single or who navigate this world solo, who have just as much love and gratitude in their life. So we probably need to start inviting some of those people on as well.
I agree with you. Well, our guest today
is a couple.
They are a couple.
Heders.
The Heders. Jon Heder, Napoleon Dynamite, Blades
wife?
of Glory, his wife, Kirsten Heder, who I love to death. I love both of them. They invite me to dinner. I join their Mormon families, family every so often, and we have horror nights here at my house. I go eat dinner with him and his family there. He's such a wonderful guy, although he could chip in for movie night sometimes. I always
just like $5 maybe.
Yeah, maybe for movie night here
John.
at the house. Bring some chips.
Yeah, bring a dip.
But Kirsten's wonderful, and what I wasn't expecting was that Kirsten would open up. I didn't expect Kirsten would open up, and if you recall, we got into a lot of good stuff about when John's getting all the success. And where does she fit? Yeah, and it's like, man, I wanted to cry, and she almost cried. I was like, holy crap, what's going on here? But we talk about everything and Jon's career and having a family and balancing that out and just...
it's a great conversation.
Yeah, well, I think we should get into it.
Yeah, check it out. We have a hotline where people call and leave messages at any time, and we let them know who our guests are going to be if they have any specific questions for them.
So it's a hotline, but it's not a live call.
No.
So
we play the message.
That.
We play the message back.
Yeah, that number is 323-207-5676. Yeah, you just leave a message. You could ask anything. We're not doctors, but you could ask us questions about, or the guest questions about, life, relationships, sex, whatever. We won't know any of it, but they could ask them.
Yeah, and then we have the answer and opinion from two completely uneducated and not completely uneducated.
Not graduated. I graduated at college,
untrained,
university.
Or your thoughts?
Untrained minds.
Did you graduate at university?
Yeah,
Kirsten.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, because you went. Don't tell me you went to Brigham Young.
Yeah,
right?
Both of us.
How do you spell Brigham?
Who cares?
I'd like to know that though, because I always say Brigham.
Brigham.
Brigham. It's not Brigham. It's Brigham.
Not Brigham.
Brigham.
Although I think there's a saying.
I would like
Wasn't
them to
that a
bring
saying
ham. I love
actually that
ham.
people say like Brigham Young?
Brigham
Because
Young.
they like.
Oh, that's
I don't know
funny.
what that
Brigham
means,
Young.
though. Like
true.
you go, but
Right.
that's in college. Like you
That's
go.
true
and get,
too.
Yeah.
Now, Chris,
I
you're
don't know
at
if that. I may have just made that up.
So we're here with Jon Heder and Kirsten Heder and Chris Sullivan, my friend here. You don't know them. You've never really.
No, we
you
just met
them
this
a few
morning.
minutes ago.
So far, we're getting along famously.
So, I've known them for how long have I known you guys?
Well, you've known me since 2000. Is it 9? 2009 maybe?
Was it really? So it's
Been
a decade.
about 10 years.
It's been 10
Yeah,
years.
a decade.
Yeah, and like I told Chris this briefly, but I'll start it with I think because this is a good way to start. We've talked to different couples. We've talked to like my ex-girlfriend. We're going to talk,
good to know.
to Chris's wife, to my assistant,
Did
to me.
Chris, did your wife sit across the way, or
Well, that
did you
hasn't
guys
happened
share
yet.
the? You said you talked to her.
Well, I said that
the
because
phone
I was hoping you
to
wouldn't ask
set
a
up this
question about it.
Yeah, just
because
let
by
him
the
get through.
because by the time this airs, I will have. But now
Listen.
we've got to cut that.
We wanted to open this with some
Interesting.
dishonesty.
Oh, I thought you would have
Well, it's not dishonesty.
open all the episodes with. That's
right.
great. Will she sit on this side?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. We can make eye contact.
Oh.
Yeah.
And we'll interview her.
She's
I
on
want to
spot.
make eye contact with Kirsten.
Now, so far, Kirsten has shushed you in the first minute, turned her head. She's now looking at
Checked out.
checking
Yeah.
out the room. She's checked out.
She's done.
What I noticed first of all is when I met you, we both have an affinity for horror movies, which I now know Chris Sullivan here loves horror movies, and we kind of have movie nights and things like that. But what I really loved about you, and also was fascinated in the beginning of our relationship, Jon, I can't say this about anybody else. Truly, there's nobody like you guys in terms of you are absolutely. You're going to correct me a little, but you're
Probably.
unaffected by the entertainment industry in a sense that, and then let me finish, is that because I know you're going to cut me out.
They literally made no move to interrupt you.
I felt like it was coming. I know, Jon. And I feel like family comes first, and then the rest, it's almost like you're not oblivious to it. Like, I care. I'm not saying you don't care. I'm not saying you don't care, because you do.
Sounds
You care
like you're
about your
putting words
career.
in our mouths.
You care about the... But I'm saying that I love it. And I look up to you guys because I feel like I need to be more grounded. So I'll come to your house for dinner, and I'm surrounded by this family, and it's just a family, a happy family, kids running around. I know you have issues. I know there's things going on in your life, but I've never met
know
someone
that.
like
you don't know
Don't
that.
pretend you know
but
that.
every actor that I've met or guests, they're affected. The part of their career, Chris is, it's his family and it's the entertainment industry. It's his career. For me, it's like, friends, little family, but it's mostly, half and half, a split or maybe more, whatever. With you, I feel like it's like way up top is family, and then somewhere down in the middle, it's
at the very bottom.
and no, just of importance. I wish I had that to turn off like you can and just focus on, because I think what makes you happy, and tell me if I'm wrong, the both of you, is that family makes you happier than anything. Family is your life.
Successfully navigating the family waters, I would say, is happiness. Well, yeah, no.
Waters? Is that what you said?
Navigating the waters of family life. Steering that ship towards family unity and a new age Babylon.
She's just shaking her head. Now he's like, now
I
he's.
meant, I meant to say
All right, you don't need to
Zion.
wax
We're in a new-
poetic.
We will need all of your disapproval to be audible.
No, I know. Okay.
Yes, if you shake your head from now on, you got to do like ADR on
Yeah.
her.
Well, how do you do it? How do you just turn off? Because I've had these conversations, and Kirsten, jump in. How does he do it? How do you guys do it?
I guess what I've noticed since we've moved out here is everything in the industry is so fleeting. It's up and down, right? It's a roller coaster. 1 minute you're hot and 1 minute you're not. That's like a common thing. And when it comes down to it, I feel like your family is long term. You have to make it family first, because you're with your family forever, like this whole life, right? So if you don't make that I feel like you have to make that your priority, because the entertainment industry, it's going to come and it's going to go. And if you make that number one, when that's gone, what do you have left? So I think that for me has been why we've made that our number one priority, because that is what you have for the rest of your life. And if you don't, then you've kind of got nothing going for you when this is all over.
Good answer.
I think for me, it's just, you say this like switch, like how do you turn it on or turn it off? For me, it's not a switch. It's just not in my blood.
Yeah.
I love this industry and I love, working. I would love to work more, but it's not really a switch. It's just like, this is who I am. And this is in my blood. It's just second nature. It's like, or it is nature. It's first nature.
And your relationship literally came first in the timeline. Like, you guys
Yeah.
were together for
Right.
a long time before, Napoleon Dynamite came around or any of those
We
things.
were actually about together a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we met in 2001, started dating. We got married in 2002.
Okay.
Napoleon was 2004.
And we shot the movie in 2003.
Oh,
So
okay.
we were about a year. We weren't even a year married when we shot the
So you were
movie.
pretty much broke.
Oh yeah.
Like you guys were dating. You both had nothing. You were just like,
Oh yeah, we were like stealing food from John's grandparents' house. We'd go there when we knew they weren't
Hey,
home.
real fast. What were the 2 top foods we stole? For me,
Oh,
I'll tell you yours.
SpaghettiOs.
Yes, SpaghettiOs.
And I was
and
stealing-
Kirsten was the Bear Creek instant potato soup.
now would
Do
you
you,
tell?
do you think that like they just stocked their cabinets with those 2 things because they knew you were stealing them, or
don't know.
did your grandparents eat SpaghettiOs?
They must have. I think they would get it for
His grandpa
free.
did.
Yeah,
They probably
grandpa,
bought
like-
it. I think they would buy it. I mean, these
Yeah.
were classic grandparents with
Sure.
your salad in a bag that would be
Yep.
5 weeks old.
Uh-huh.
I mean, when they finally moved right after my grandma passed, we, like a lot of the family, went down into the basement to clean it out.
Oh, so
Remember, we were
much
finding
old.
canned meat from the 70s that my grandma could not let go of.
There's that there's that mentality of lack, right? So grandparents who lived through
yeah.
or
yeah, they-
or who were raised by people who lived through the Depression.
Yep.
Then you just hold on to that stuff because someday you might need it.
You know what? My grandfather Lou, I'll never forget him. God rest his soul. Just drove me up a wall. Like if you took too big of a portion from the table, I'd feel him breathing on my arm, and I'd turn my head and you just see him shake his head, just like. Too much without saying a word. He never said anything. And if somebody said, hey, this milk's 8 days old, he'd go, it's fine. Like he would like let things he never got sick though. His immune system, because he ate
you go.
such crap, he would just let things mold and eat it, and just he couldn't
Building
get
it
sick. Where I ate my
Plus, he
mom's
also-
cooking, I was barfing.
But
the
he
next
didn't
morning.
like you eating too much, like he wanted to save leftovers.
He just thought I was taking too much of a portion, and
That'd be
know.
enough
Much of
for
a
everybody.
portion.
And
Dude, I remember one time, imagine a glass of water with a lot of ice cubes. And
Hold
I remember
on, give us a second.
and you can hear it just going.
Okay, we've got it.
dick.
We've
how
got
many
it.
ice cubes?
like a lot, like 5 floating ice cubes in a tall glass.
Okay, so that's not
and
a
you
lot.
could hear them going
and they're cracking.
cracking.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, my grandfather decides he wants some of my ice. So he takes
2 fingers.
No, like this tiny spoon, and with his shaking hand, he dips it into my glass, and you can hear it rattling. And I'm just like, my head's looking straight, but my eyes are looking at his hand shaking and the glass, and just taking the cube, and then one drops back in, and then he gets it again, and his fingers are going in there, in and out, in and out. Finally gets it, and then I look over, no one notices except my Uncle Dave, and he looks at me, and he gives that Grandpa Lou shake of like, gee whiz.
Come on, Lou.
Dude, Lou. And he used to have, I hate to be rude, but I don't know if it was the biggest balls.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like.
Wait a
how-
second.
how's
Wait a
this?
second.
What?
Wait a second.
What? Was
Why
that
do
wrong?
you?
How did
Why,
you
no, no.
tell?
Hold on. First of all, we've gone down a huge left turn here, but I have quite. How do you know?
Okay, here's the deal. I never saw his balls, his physical
you don't
balls.
know.
But on in his pants, there was just battle of the bulge.
I see.
It was like this giant lump.
Overlapping
And
the
I still
seam?
don't know to this day what it was. Maybe it was some kind of deformity.
Or just tight pants, like a lot of this.
No. These were like he had a cantaloupe in his pants. And I
Okay.
remember one
All right.
time.
Too?
This is how dysfunctional my
Hopefully.
parents are.
Is this the
Hopefully.
same uncle that saved food?
Yes,
So
grandpa.
maybe
grandpa.
he was.
Maybe he
Maybe he
was-
was saving
maybe it
a
was called a
cantaloupe.
cantaloupe.
It was a cantaloupe.
No. So listen. That's amazing. No, but my grandpa Lou. So after
That's where he kept his snacks.
my dad is driving, we're leaving from Florida back to Indiana
Chipmunk cheeks.
after a Christmas vacation or whatever. And my mom's in the passenger seat. My dad's driving. My brother Eric is in the back next to me. And I remember just going, "Hey, Dad, what's with Grandpa Lou's balls?" And my dad just goes, "Don't talk about your grandfather like that. Have some respect." And then I remember my mom goes, "He's not even your real grandfather." And I go, "What?" And my dad goes, "Come on, Julie, we're not going to talk about this now." And I go, "What do you mean he's not my real grandfather?" She goes, "Well, I'm just saying that you don't have to worry about big balls like that because he adopted your grandmother at a young age." So I found out about all this stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Chris, your face
What
right
a
now.
conversation.
Oh my
All
God, that
because of
was
the
the
balls.
story of my life. That's why I'm going.
So you don't have to worry about having. That's amazing.
That's what you're
That's the
worried
worry.
about.
But you know that I
That's why
sort
you're
of.
bringing it up.
Well, if you have heart disease in the family, you want to know about
Sure.
it. If you have big balls in the family, you want to know about it.
Listen, Michael,
It's a condition.
please sit down. We just need to tell you
Yes.
a little medical history.
Your father and your father's father.
Yes, Dad.
and
Father,
Your father's
your
father's father.
all suffer from something called big balls.
Or Big Ball Lou, we called him.
Big Ball.
BBL.
Just marking that on your medical
Yeah,
intake
that's what I was
forms.
going to say.
Is there any medical history in the family we need to know about? High
Big
cholesterol
balls.
and big balls.
Diabetes. Diabetes.
See, it's tangents like these that are almost impossible to come back from.
Yeah, it really is. But let's get back to
But
the
seriously,
Heders, the
family
Heder
is like
family.
first and foremost.
Yeah. But it's true. It's like, I see Chris and he's very balanced, even though he's like, you work all the time, Chris. You're always doing movies. You're always doing TV shows. You're always taking on things. And I commend you. And I think less of myself because I can't do that. And on top of it, you have a wife and you guys do therapy together. You work on things. And for me, I'm like, I can barely take care of myself. I feel like sometimes.
Well, I'll bring it back to you guys because my wife and I have talked about this a lot because I've been acting for a long time, but being a part of like this industry in a major way has only really started in the last couple of years with this TV show I work on. And what we've realized is that this industry will try to separate us as much as possible because they want to control the narrative about who I am, who I'm supposed to be, who I am to this show, whether it's press or events or all of these things. My wife and I have made active steps traveling through everything together.
Yeah.
And showing up as a unit, showing up as a team, showing up as a couple. And we found that sometimes that's awkward. Like my wife early on I was like, let's go to this event together. And she's like, well, will all the other like wives or husbands be there? And I'm like, who cares? Let's us go to this event together.
Come on, honey. This is
Us. This is not about
I knew
them.
John was going to go.
This
sorry.
is us.
Us.
And so I don't know how you guys have experienced that or if you have.
It's weird for us because there's all kinds of unaffectedness going on around here at the same time. Like with Kirsten, she's like, we literally just talked about like, I got a premiere invite and I was like, oh, I'll take one of the kids. And then I just almost checking in every single time is like, I mean, unless you want to go, she's like, oh, no, I'm good.
No, but I get what you're saying because I feel like a lot of people who watch your show or watch anything Jon's done or anything most actors do, it's almost like they can't separate your character from who you are in real life. And it's almost like they expect you to be that person.
Right.
And it's almost like the people you're working for, the studios, want you to be that person for the audience because it makes
ruin it for them.
Right, not to ruin it for them because if it ruins it for them, they may not watch or they think that people are going to stop liking you as an actor because you're not living up to their expectations, right?
Did you experience that a lot with Napoleon? Being such a specific character, people wanted you to be that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's always been the weird question people have, like, are you typecast? And I could never. It felt weird to say. I didn't totally understand what it meant.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I was like, well, typecast, like, he's such a unique character at the same time.
Yeah. What type
Like,
are you?
Are you giving me a role that's exactly him, or are you just like, a nerdy kind of, okay, like the underdog type character, the loser type character?
Right.
So yeah, for sure, there was a lot of that happening. But again, Napoleon was so different, and so specific.
Yeah.
Just the way he looks and sounds. I was like, are you wanting me to copy this? Are you wanting me to just do the exact same thing or just do a different spin of what I do? And so, yeah, I mean, for sure. And I still see that. And some people more nowadays are like, well, we kind of just want you to do the Napoleon thing for this.
Sure.
And what do you say about that?
Well, it just depends on the project. There was this, it was like I think it was it was Ninja Turtles cartoon I did. And it was like, that was awesome to do. And when I got the script, it was for Napoleon Bonafrog, which was this old character from the original series that I grew up and loved. And I was like, oh, I get it. Like Napoleon Bonafrog, they're kind of doing this thing. And they were trying to they tried so hard not to say you're doing the Napoleon thing.
Yeah.
But I read the script and it was clearly like, I mean, one of the producers of Napoleon was actually working on the show. So they kept hiding around it. And it took me telling them, wait, okay, so actually now I think about it, this is exactly like, you just want me to do Napoleon. They're like, and I was like,
do you mind?
It makes no sense.
Right here,
it doesn't make sense to not do him.
Well, the turtle right here says, gosh.
Yeah, like, so you want it. Like, just come out and straight and say it.
Right.
But it made sense for that. But for most of the time, I'm like, no, let me try to do something different. Like, I know you guys feel
You know what I
weird
find
asking.
interesting is that Kirsten, it's a very unique relationship because Chris, I don't know if this is true about you and Rachel, but I don't think Rachel would look at you and say, I don't think it was good. I don't think you were great in that. Okay? You have like a more, Kirsten and Jon have such a, I'm completely honest and none of them get offended by what each other say. I mean, I'm sure they get offended, but I noticed that if Kirsten doesn't
Does that happen? Does that happen?
If Kirsten doesn't like something, she will say it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you do it? Does he ask you? Does he say, did you like Napoleon?
No, she just doesn't watch any of my stuff.
Yeah, I
so
don't.
she
I
doesn't
don't
have to-
watch a
doesn't
lot
have to
of
weigh
his
in.
stuff. I honestly
Doesn't
have
have to
not
weigh.
seen like the last 3 things that he's
No,
done.
you did. You actually did. We
I
went
saw
to
Jeff.
We saw.
but I don't think
No.
I've
There's a
seen-
lot you haven't. Well, no, you saw the last couple films.
There's been like 3 or 4 I haven't seen.
You saw the
But
Tiger.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
Now, why is that? Are you, you just got so much going on with the kids and life and
Sure,
stuff?
that's it. Yeah. I don't know. I feel bad because I don't want him to
You
feel.
don't have to feel bad.
I don't know if it's not my type of movie. I'm not really sure. I probably should be more supportive in that. I don't know.
I don't think you should be anything. Like, it sounds like
I will
you have a
share
healthy
with
enough
her.
ego
Yeah, I think-
that your partner
Yeah, and I think
doesn't have to love
is
you.
it terrible
Like,
that I'm like, and other people give him plenty enough ego.
Sure,
No,
Sure.
I don't have an ego.
You don't.
If
You
I
don't
do,
have an
if
ego.
If I do, it's healthy. I like how
That's
you
what I
put
mean.
that.
Well, we all
I'm gonna
have
use that from
egos.
now
We
on.
just we have healthy or unhealthy relationships to them. And the reason why Rachel probably doesn't turn to me and go, "You weren't good in that," is because I am incapable of. I'm
Dealing
not.
with it.
Yeah, and she
You
knows.
wouldn't- you
she
can-
knows.
like-
I'm literally in our household. She calls me a delicate flower. You're a delicate flower, and I am, and I wish I wasn't. And I'm working to not be as much.
I think
but-
we're all sensitive. Like, I remember when I directed my movie and I made the movie for nothing and I worked so hard on it and you want everybody to like it and, it's raunchy and it's this and it's not everybody's taste, but just like one thing, the only thing that bothered me, the only thing was my dad texted me and said, "We saw your movie." And I said, "Okay." And that was
That
it.
was
Oh,
it.
come on.
And I just felt like, man, it would have been nice to just hear, "Hey, congratulations. We had a lot of fun." But you don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
I get it. Unless you're going like, "Oh my God, this was really, really good." We know that you don't really love something. You know when somebody goes, "Hey, I saw that movie. Oh, cool." And there's no more conversation. They probably didn't love it.
yeah.
Unless they go, "Oh my God, you don't understand. That is one of my favorite movies." Oh my, when people are genuine and when they're not. And that, yeah.
My parents are the type who are like, often they'll want to buy something. I can see their purchase history on iTunes and they'll have bought a couple of my movies. And there's a couple where I'm like, "Mom, Dad, you didn't need to buy that one." That
Right.
like, honestly, you come to me. I will go out of my way to tell certain family members.
Which ones shouldn't they
'Cause-
watch, John?
No, because a lot of times I'll get that from family members. It's like, "Geez, John, the only way we find out about things that you're doing is like from other people or stuff you never tell us." I was like, well, it's not that I don't take pride in my work, but it's also, I don't really feel like going out there.
Right.
Like, that's how you need to know me. But that said,
Here's how Google
Like-
Alerts works.
yeah, no, I try not. I have family members who do that as well. And it's like, oh,
That's not helpful
Oh,
either.
that's not helpful. But I will say like, "No, hey, let's go." Like I told, I think the last movie I did, I was like, "Kirsten, come to the premiere. I think you might actually
What
enjoy
movie
it."
was that?
When Jeff Tried to Save the World.
And did you enjoy that, Kirsten?
I did.
She did.
I really liked that one. I thought I was impressed with that.
And
one.
she said, "You did a good job." And I was like, once a decade, I don't mind it. And I don't take it as like, "Oh, she thinks I stink." I don't expose her to like a lot of the stuff I do because I just don't think, I think of it as the project and not like, "Oh,
Sure.
you want to support your husband."
sure,
like,
sure.
yeah, she supports me by
When you want
being
her to
an
see
awesome
something, you
mom
can
and
say,
taking
"Hey,
care of
I'd like
kids
you to
when I'm
see this."
working. And,
Yeah.
When something's important, you say, "Hey, Kirsten, I want you to see this one." And she will,
and
right?
if I think she might be, if I think she could be impressed, because for sure there's deep down the feeling like, "Oh, it'd be awesome if I knew my wife thought I was talented or enjoyed something I did." And every now and then I don't mind pulling out a thing or two that she might like.
I'm going to say that my favorite sponsor on this podcast is the Smile Direct Club.
Sully, it's our only sponsor.
Exactly. They're the only people who believe in us. They believed in us from the beginning, before we even put out an episode.
That's true. And you know who else believes in us? The people listening.
If you're still listening, you support us. Smile Direct Club supports us. Why don't you also support Smile Direct Club? Go to their website, smiledirectclub.com, and put in our offer code.
In love.
That's right, for $100 off your aligners. If there's something you want to change about your smile, listen, the smile can be a great source of confidence.
Yeah.
And if you're hiding your smile, if you're hiding your laughter, you gotta stop.
Stop it.
You have to stop.
Don't
You
do
gotta straighten those teeth
Straighten your grill, man.
and find your confidence.
Yeah. You can whiten them too.
And Smile Direct Club is going to help you do that.
$100 off, smiledirectclub.com. Go there, use the code INLOVE. Smile Direct Club. We love them. You'll love them. Did you, when you first saw him in Napoleon? I remember you didn't think it was that
No,
good.
in fact, we saw Napoleon. I saw Napoleon for the first time at Sundance, and I was like super excited because I remember when they were going to make Napoleon, it was right after I'd gotten my first big job out of college, and I was super excited because I was making more money than I thought possible out of college.
What line of work are you in?
Oh, well, now I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I actually, right before this, worked at Sony Pictures.
Oh, cool.
But it was when we were back in Utah. And he was like, I want to make this movie. I'm like, well, I'm making money now. Go for it. Like, you don't have to work this summer. So he made it. And I was like, I'm supporting my husband. He's going to make this movie. I was super excited. And then I went to Sundance to see it. And I just sat there and just was like, oh no.
What?
Remember? And remember afterwards, like, remember? Yes, you remember this.
No.
Afterwards, I just sat there and I went, oh boy.
You didn't think it was going to do anything.
I remember this. You're thinking of a different movie.
No.
Benchwarmers.
No, I'm not. I'm thinking of Napoleon. Right afterwards, I was like,
Because I was going to share that story, like Benchwarmers.
no.
We went and saw.
And Napoleon. After
so you
Napoleon.
do remember that with Benchwarmers?
Yes.
We went and
but
saw
I also
Benchwarmers
remember
to the premiere.
Napoleon. I was just like, oh, this is the movie. Okay.
Really?
This is not going to
So
do
you didn't
very
think it was
well.
going to do well?
No,
And
I
it turned
did
out
not.
to be literally a
second.
cultural phenomenon.
You were there for
Yeah.
the first screening at Sundance.
Yes.
It was huge. People went nuts.
Right,
You
but
saw
while we
how
were
people-
watching it, I was
Oh,
like,
really?
this,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did not know that.
yeah.
It's one of those things, like there are certain things like Eddie Izzard's Dressed to Kill, or like these like
Yep.
little things that are these cultural phenomenons that enter into the fabric of things. And I'm sure it's different because you're a part of it, but like there are parts of that movie that people quote to this day,
Yeah.
and they don't even know where they're quoting it from. Like it's traveled into our lexicon, into our kind of cultural fabric, into our comedic state.
It's a stain, if you will. And that using the fabric analogy. No, it's great.
But that's an interesting, like,
It's a colorful thread.
it's a very colorful thread, and it's such a fascinating, because it's such a, as you're sitting there watching it, I can see, because you've never seen anything like it before. I mean, there was nothing else like it before that, so it's hard to.
I mean, there's playing it like the Lemley. My friend Chris goes, hey, there's this movie Napoleon Dynamite playing at the Lemley. You should go see it. I'm like, the Lemley. So it's
It's
an indie movie.
I love
it's an
Lemley.
indie. I know. I sort of do.
I don't want to admit it.
No, there's some movies that are good, but yes. But I went and I brought my grandparents. I told you, John, and they were like, that Napoleon Dynamite is a riot. And it was just such a, because it didn't look like it. Anyway, the whole point is I don't want to get into Napoleon Dynamite as much. But then when it hit, was it like a wave of like our lives are changed? Like, wow, what a change for us. And how do you deal with that?
It was one of those movies where it slowly, like, I started seeing things in it that I really liked. But I didn't move out here with him right away. He was here for 8 months.
No, not that long.
It
No,
was,
no.
like-
I moved out in the summer of 2004, and you stayed there, and then you came in like October or November.
Okay. I had a slow transition.
She wasn't there for the initial like huge wave, but she was there at Sundance, and you saw people's reaction at Sundance.
Standing ovation?
Although apparently you had, I mean, it was huge. I don't remember if people stand, but they went nuts. I mean, it was awesome. But going back to like, it was after Benchwarmers, we went and saw like I think it was a screening of it. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And we saw it, and she was just, I didn't know this about the Napoleon. This is the first time where when we saw it, she's like, oh, she thought like my career was over. She thought like I wasn't good at it. She was like just kind of embarrassed. And then like the movie did great. It was just like another Sandler film. Like it was awesome.
Right.
I think she's grown a lot since then and how she views just like, I guess my work. I don't know. I'll let you speak to that.
No, the films are fine. No, they're good. No, his films are good. I like his films. I think he's made some smart choices in some of the films he's done, like for Ellen. But I'd be curious, like with your wife, I think the main reason I don't go to a lot of the premieres is not the movie or not wanting to see the movie. I just think I feel like it's a whole different world for the wife or the spouse of the celebrity going to these events than it is for the person at the events, or even just in general out in public. Totally. You know, like the spouse, the actor or the actress is treated almost revered, and then the spouse has a whole different, like almost ignored, or people judge them like, wow, that's who they married. Like,
so you just feel uncomfortable. It's just uncomfortable.
It's super uncomfortable.
Rachel had the same reaction.
It's almost like you're an afterthought, or I feel like, why am I here? Like, or like they kind of want to push you off. Okay, just stand here while we deal with this, pushing off to the side. You're almost like in the way. Yeah. And I think I got a bad taste in my mouth. Like when I remember when I first moved out here with him, we were living in Pacific Palisades. And I think it was for Benchwarmer, or no, it was for the MTV Movie Awards or something like that. And I don't know if I should say the name of a designer, but a huge design house wanted to dress him for an event. You know, the agents were like, let me see if they'll dress you. And I was like, oh, that would be nice, you know, and they're like, let me get your sizes. And it was when I was smaller than this, you know, like, and so imagine how I feel now. So I was a size 6 or an 8 at that point, which to me, I was like, that's normal for an average woman. And they come back and say, oh, they don't carry your size. And are you serious? I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, you're a little bit bigger than they carry. And I was like, oh.
They said that.
They said that. So the agent comes back and goes, but they'll send you something that they might have that will fit you.
Only in LA will they say something like that.
And they sent a box with a big poncho in it.
No.
For me to wear.
And you wore it. How dare you? You wore it.
I was
poncho?
Because I hadn't planned for anything else. I didn't have anything else. And so I wore this ugly poncho to this event, and I was humiliated, and I remember crying about it, and I was just like, so after that I was just trying to dress myself, and people would send stuff for him to wear. And I remember then the next event, his manager sent me over to a really fashionable designer store down in Beverly Hills, and no one would help me. And I remember like there was a section where they had the dresses, and the lady blocked me and goes, I'm sorry, this is only for special clients. And then like right after that, I saw people just walking in, but they kept blocking me. So I called his manager and just started crying. And I was like, no one would help me at the department store. And she's like, well, let me see what I can do. And so she was trying to help me find an outfit. And I was like, don't worry about it. I'll just go down to like a Macy's or something, you know? And so it was just kind of like after that, it was slowly like every event that I went to, I kind of had this like weird kind of like, I'm not really part of this, you know,
Rachel
attitude.
had the same reaction.
And it's kind of continued. You kind of feel like you're not part of it. You're kind of like the tag along, kind of the.
I'm getting emotional.
Do you know what I'm saying? So
can you actually see
I can't imagine. I can't imagine for somebody who's even a bigger celebrity how their wife must feel. And I hear stories about big celebrities, and you see it in the tabloids, like, look at the wife of so-and-so. Can you believe they're married? And my heart goes out. No wonder a lot of marriages break up, because the wives or husbands must feel like second-class citizens compared to their celebrity husbands or wives. And I can't imagine how their marriages get through that. So I feel like ours gets through it because Jon doesn't live in that world as much. So we're not going to those parties. We're not hanging out with those types of friends where I would feel like I'm on the outskirts and kind of just looking in on him hanging out with those kind of people. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, so it's been rough.
Yeah, it's a bizarre, first of all, that's fucking awful.
And by the way, I just want to say thank you for sharing that. I mean, I'm honestly emotional because it's so honest and so raw, and people don't talk about that, but the other side, like, how do they feel? Like, whether you're the husband or the wife and having to deal with that stuff. And it's just like, I never really imagined it like that, but to be there and feel like that. And I know Jon, he would never make you feel like that. And he was always trying to make you like, isn't this fun? But he doesn't know what you were feeling. But thank you for opening up.
That's what I mean about this city and this industry. It's like they'll take these little wedges and they just stick them in there, and it's not appropriate. It doesn't reflect it doesn't sound like it reflects the nature of your relationship. It certainly doesn't reflect the nature of Rachel and I's. And look, part of the reason I want her to feel comfortable with these things, I want her to feel welcome, I want her to feel all of these things, is because I want to spend time with her.
Yeah.
and I want to share this experience with the person that I love. And I suffer from anxiety. And it's helpful for me sometimes to have Rachel there. There are certain things that she does not want to go to. And I've really said, do you mind coming anyways? Because I'm having one of those days and I could really use the support. It's so hard because she is constantly like, can we just get a photo just by yourself? No,
you can't.
No.
This is my wife. She's the other part of me. So fuck off.
And it's or people
F-bomb.
trying to shuffle her off to different areas, or at certain award shows, they don't give us an extra seat.
Right.
And there are certain things that if we don't have a +1, then I'll skip it. Like it's nice to hear you guys finding a way through that and staying essentially, connected through all that bullshit.
It is a weird balance because it is. I've always seen, and I think we both are very private at the same time. I mean, we're very much like, we don't need to be public about anything we do, what our family's doing, stuff like that. We keep it very much in-house. There's a lot of those reasons why, I don't mind. She seems like she's cool with not being in the limelight, and I don't mind not having because
you want her to be comfortable.
I want her to be comfortable,
right.
And it's also private, but at the same time, there are still those times where I'm like, I really want to share this with you. And I have so much pride in her at the same time that I have those feelings too, where no, this is my wife and I'm completely happy with her. And I'm completely happy with how she looks and who she is and what she stands for. And I want people to know that, but I also want to keep that to myself because it's private. It's like with the kids, it used to be very much private, but now like I think that has almost been torn down a little bit, that line.
Right.
Because now my kids are like full on, oh yeah, I'll take a picture for if a fan comes up and wants to get a picture.
Sure.
I'll take a picture. Like they get it, they know it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Do they like your movies?
Yeah, I mean, I think they haven't seen them all, but they like a lot of the stuff I've done. Yeah.
Do they enjoy it? They're like, oh my gosh, that's my dad.
Kind of like they're still in that phase of like the gimmick of, oh, my dad's in these movies. Like, do I care about the movie that much? No, but I like to say that he's in it.
And by the way, another thing is that in terms of you guys' relationship, like I know like Jon, I think this happened a week ago, he called me like, dude, my brothers and I, we do this every year once or twice. We go on this big camping trip, all the brothers, and we hike for a couple days. Or you'll say, oh, we're going camping with the family. Kirsten and the kids and I, we're all going camping. Or we have season passes to Magic Mountain. Or, and it's always family. And it just does make me stop and go, man, I mean, there's more to life than this crap. I mean, yeah, I'm grateful for it and I love it and all that, but it's just like there is that. My grandfather always said, and now he's like Alzheimer's and he's 93, but for years he always said, Mike, I just can't explain it. There's nothing like having a family. The most joy I had was with you guys growing up and watching you grow up and doing things with you. And it's touching. And it's like, that's why I thought, it was really unique having you guys in here because you are the most unaffected. You just live your life and enjoy your life. And I don't feel like you stress, but it's a normal stress. I don't feel like you guys think about the stress, or you don't stress about the things that I stress about, which are not that important.
I think we do sometimes because I think recently I've talked to Jon about questioning, the balance. Because I feel like in this industry, if you're not being seen, you're not on people's minds when it comes to jobs. And so I have talked to Jon about whether or not I feel like And I hate to think about it, like, has the idea that we've focused so much on family hurt his career? And I think long term, do we care? Probably not. But the fact that, that I don't want to go to events with him, and so he's backed out, or the fact that I don't want to go to these Hollywood parties, and so he's backed out, has it affected whether or not he's gotten jobs? Has it affected whether or not, producers or casting directors have wanted him in jobs? We've thought about that a lot, and maybe it has.
No, it's never been. You almost sound like you're putting it on you, but it's not that. Like, for sure, there's still, if there's a event or party I want to go to, I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna go. It'd be great if you went, or I'll just get someone else. Like we went to that party.
Not another lady.
No, he'll take his twin brother.
Friend. Not another date. I took Kirsten to a party last year, and we don't go to a lot of parties, but this is like a big party, and it was
awkward.
It was just like, look,
they all are.
I need someone else.
I feel like everyone's like, it's, we get there and we're like, do we know anybody here?
No. I
Like,
100%
you don't know anyone.
Yeah.
Nobody in there knows anyone.
I mean, no one's comfortable.
Nobody really wants to be there.
And I don't know, maybe this is how a lot of people feel, but this is 100% peek inside how loser like me like sees some of these parties. We're sitting there eyeing like, okay, Kirsten, we're working as a team. She's like, what about that guy? You worked with him that one time? Yeah. All right. I'm
like,
gonna
just
try
go
to go
talk to
over.
him.
I'm
Just
gonna try to
go
go over
say
and say hi. Go talk. I go over and like say one thing, and then I come back and report. All right, we talked about this, and we talked
Rachel
about that,
and I do the exact same
and I was like,
thing.
okay, that worked.
Good.
How did
That's
that?
good to know.
Oh, I met that person. Hey, she's an agent, or she was an agent for WMM, and it was like, and we it was great. We talked about this. Oh, maybe it'll lead to this. Like, okay.
Circle around the room.
Maybe you should come
Let's
with me to
pretend we're
do a
getting
lap.
food.
We're doing
Let's
a
do
lap.
Let's do a lap.
Let's get out of here.
This doesn't work. This doesn't work. Hey, let's work our way over to that corner where they have that really good looking hors d'oeuvre. But maybe along the way, I mean, it was so calculated and so unnatural.
Rachel and I give ourselves time limits. We're like, we're going to stay at this party for 45 minutes.
Yep.
That literally, so those conversations about,
Yes.
we're only here 45 minutes, so go say hi to that person or don't. But we came all this way on a Saturday night. We're on Sunset Boulevard.
Yep.
Yep.
The Ubers have been expensive. You better say hi to somebody.
Yeah.
And the vibe at all those parties, like everyone is feeling that.
But
maybe
at
not
the
everyone,
same time, I
but a
feel
lot
like
of
there's
people.
a lot of them like, no, they've all worked. I don't know. My perception is like, yeah, but those people, they've worked and they're working a lot more than I am. And so they are seeing each other probably more often, and they actually have relationships. Whereas, I'm like, I worked with them maybe 10 years ago or whatever. But
Yeah.
You're right. A lot of times I do feel, okay, they're probably feeling the same way.
The interesting part about this industry and the way it presents to the world through magazines, through TV, through TMZ, through all these things, it presents this industry to the world as if it's one cocktail party after the other. And it is. But these are just work events. They are a collection of people who hover around each other. We don't have an office. So if we can all meet at this hotel bar and have a few drinks, then we can get some business done. We can
Get a couple pictures of us doing it.
get a couple of pictures of us doing it, letting people know that we still work for the company. We came to the company party, but also it's a lot easier if you drink.
We don't.
I remember-
It's so hard.
I don't drink, and I'm like,
Yeah, we don't either. So it's like, what do we do?
I-
I'll have a cranberry
d'oeuvres.
juice. It
It's all
looks
about
like
the hors
I'm
d'oeuvres.
yeah.
I have I went
sparkling
to
water.
I had this manager who's always like, you got to go to more events. You got to go to premieres. You got to do this. You got to go to the Golden Globes. And I'm like, Golden Globes? Yeah, you got to go there. I'm like, but I'm not nominated for anything. It doesn't matter. You're seen as a person who wasn't nominated. Why am I going to some place? It's networking. I go, I can't do it. I feel like I'm insignificant. I feel like I'm at a place where I'm not part of something. And I don't belong here. And I've always felt that with things. I can fit in. You know me, John. I can be like, hey, all right, everybody, look, me, confident guy. But I'm just, it's an act. because I don't feel comfortable around these things. No, I think, and somebody said it once, like nobody feels really comfortable around these things. That's probably true. Let's go to a question from one of the fans. Remember the hotline, guys. It's the In Love hotline. It's
323-207-5676.
Ask us any questions. We got Jon and Kirsten here, so let's go to the hotline.
Hey, love the podcast. My name's Kyle. My question's for Kirsten. What's it like being married to a guy that probably gets one-liners from Napoleon Dynamite spit at him every 5 seconds from random people? Do you just roll with it, or what?
What do you do, Kirsten?
What do I do?
Do you roll with it?
Do I roll with it? I more just smile and walk away, which is terrible. I love that I have kids that just run off because I can just pretend that I'm chasing after them, so I don't have to stay around.
Before we had kids, she would just keep.
I would
walking.
just keep walking, and Jon would reprimand me later and go, "Why did you leave me?" And it's like, because I hate standing around. So if he gets stopped by people that are like, "Hey, say a quote." Like, Tina, what about your ham, or whatever the quote is?
What about your ham?
See,
That's not the quote.
I know. I've seen the movie like twice.
I love it. What about your ham?
So I would like...
Come and get it, your ham.
Come and get it.
So like if he gets stopped
ham.
and they're like taking pictures, I literally just keep walking, and he'll be like, "What?" And I'm like, he knows just to catch up with me wherever I am, because I'm like, I'm not going to stand around for this.
Yeah.
This isn't about me.
What's the one thing you hate when they ask him to say? What's the one thing that you wish any thing other than this or these two phrases? Like,
what is the worst quote that I hate?
Like, I'm tired of hearing that.
Do you give it to him, Jon? I know it's...
No, I don't think we don't get it that often. It's not like people are saying, "Hey, say this, say this."
Well, I get more annoyed at him when they're like, "Hey," so I hate it when they go, "Wait, you look familiar. Have I seen you from? Do I know you? Have I seen?" And you know that they no, they're just waiting for him to say it, and they're like, "So, do you have a twin brother who?" And then Jon will go, "I don't know. I don't know." And he'll play with it, and I'm like, "Just get it over with so we can move on," And he'll be like,
Michael has the best one.
I do have a twin brother. And
Michael has the best one.
Oh,
People say, "You look familiar." Hey, I'm sorry. You look real familiar. Do I know you? Wait, you're an actor.
Yeah.
What were you in?
Have you seen Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't in that one.
Everybody else was.
But do you hate, is there one you're like, oh my God, do you ever look at the person with disdain? Like, would you please?
No, she doesn't even give it a second.
I literally
just
don't stay
turns off
around.
and,
She turns off. She doesn't care. You're used to it.
Yeah.
Well, because she knows, it's going to be the same spiel. It's not about what lines. It's just like,
I don't even think I've stayed around long enough.
Ordering the rest of the
Checked
food while Jon handles that,
Right.
But I will say one of my favorite guilty things to do is sometimes I think she gets more annoyed when I quote my movie to her. And it's just
when he's
at home.
Yes.
At home it's just the two of us, and all of a sudden a situation will happen where it just calls for it.
She's making quesadillas or something.
And I'll do it just to annoy her.
Like, what will you do? Will you go?
But I'll smile to myself and be like,
if I ask him for chapstick or something, and he'll be like, "Because your lips hurt real bad," and I'll just stare at him, and I'm like,
and I almost
no.
say it knowing that it's just a special moment between just her and I. Nobody else has
to roll her eyes.
And I just go, no.
And I'm like,
No,
come on,
no, don't do it. So I could just imagine you going.
But it's when it's also just unprompted. And all of a sudden something happens. And I'm like, oh, I have to.
Yeah.
I have to. I wish I had a part that was so memorable, that the voice was so distinct that people would ask me to do a voice. I've never had a role where they would say quote, they would say, say something, but you had such a distinct
when if she ever asked me how does your cut feel? Is it better or whatever is injured? I'm like, fine, still kills.
So stupid.
But do you kind of laugh inside, Kirsten?
No.
Not at all. You don't.
You don't think it's cute at all?
No.
On our family text chain
That's
with my
okay.
wife's entire family, my brother-in-law got some new professional photos taken, and someone just said glamour shots by Deb. and my mother-in-law said, "Who's Deb?" And I said, "Oh, she's a local artist She makes mostly keychains, but she also takes photos. She said, "Oh wow, nice." And
She's saving money for college.
saving money for college.
Mother goes to college.
Oh man.
Yeah, let's not
Anyway,
go.
we're
Let's
done
not.
with that.
Do we have another one?
No. Do we have another question?
Yeah.
Yeah, here's another one.
Okay, let's go for it.
Hey guys, how's it going? Name's Aaron, calling from Seattle, Washington. I am newly sober and I'm looking to date, and it's kind of difficult because usually everyone wants to go to bars. Everyone wants to get drinks first. So what would be your suggestion for going on dates sober? I mean, I'm still down to go to bars and like hang out and stuff. That's not too difficult for me, but yeah, what would be a good first sober date idea?
I would just say go to Applebee's or something.
Definitely Applebee's. Although they got a lot of if you're trying to stay away from booze, Applebee's might not
but
be
it's
the right
not
place.
a bar.
I mean, you guys don't drink. How did you find each other? How did you even?
I have no idea how to
Yeah,
answer that
it's
question.
now. Well,
I was not a dater.
it's-
I've got an idea.
yeah.
All
go
right.
ahead.
Okay. Well, I feel like
This is what she
nowadays
always wanted to do.
there's so much like fun. What do you call them? Not kitschy. There's like cool like
Group events.
group events or things,
activities.
group activities. Things like escape rooms, I think, are awesome. You could find some local. If there's always so many local events going on, you could look up. Is there some cool? Not a fair, but you know what I'm saying. There's always some sort of. I don't know what you'd call them. What would you?
Olive Garden.
Some olive and
Like,
olive. Yeah, you can always go to Michael's favorite, the Olive Garden,
an
for the
art
all-you-can-eat
fair?
salads and breadsticks.
Are we going to do ads for them on this?
But you know what I'm saying?
like
There's
to.
Family.
I'd like
It's all
to.
about
I feel like there's always so many cool things going on in towns. Always have stuff going on, like movies in the park. You know, like see what your town has.
Yeah, identify the things you're passionate about. If you go
Yeah.
do the things that you like, you're going to run into people who also like doing those
Right.
things.
Oh,
Like,
so
find a-
you're suggesting that's where
Oh,
you
how they
find
meet
those
'em.
kind of people.
Yeah.
That's a good
He's
way.
Like-
asking where to
Right.
go, though, right?
Where to go on a date.
So how about this? How
Well,
about
it could be.
where-
It could be both. You
Yeah.
meet someone
Find
at
people
one
by
of these
joining
events
groups.
and
You like
say,
hiking? Join a hiking group.
Yeah.
You like
But what about-
Cars, there are car clubs.
What about whatever town you're in? You just say the top 15, 20 things to do in this town, and
And
you could
find
probably
it.
find something to do.
Yeah.
take
You
them
know?
on, go hiking and just talk.
I wouldn't
or-
hike with someone for the first
That's
outing.
true. Then
That's
you're
kinda
stuck
weird.
with 'em.
Or escape room. That was a bad idea. Kirsten.
I think escape rooms are great
For the first day.
No, because
love
you
an
can
escape
learn
room.
a lot about
See
them.
how you do under stressful situations from
Yeah.
someone. If they're horrible, you just boot them.
I think we've kind of, we
Yeah,
are.
right.
I've done escape rooms with strangers before, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, but not a girl you're interested in.
You know, I've heard it described that right now we are in a post-alcoholic society. Like not that far away from a time, we're less than 100 years away from a time where everything was solved by alcohol. Your emotional problems were solved. Your medical problems were solved.
The
Your-
Declaration of Independence.
like all of alcohol.
It was.
Alcohol, speaking of woven into the fabric of society, has been woven into everything, and they've convinced you that you cannot be lovable, likable, attractive, or dateable, desirable without it, and you don't need it. There are tons of things to do. If it's been a part
Well,
of
this
your
guy gets it. He knows he doesn't need it.
Right.
He's sober.
right, and so the right, nobody
He's
knows
like,
it better
I
than
know,
this guy.
But what do I do?
yeah.
So, but if it's been a part of your life for a very long time, like it had been for me, it's in everything, and it's just like it's less about the physical need for it and more just the habit. Like, oh, we're done with dinner, we go have a drink. Or we're having dinner, we have a drink. Well, before dinner, let's all meet for drinks. Like it becomes part of the
Norm.
literally the habit of.
I've done so many things hanging out with people or going to a party where it doesn't matter if I don't drink. I just don't drink. You can
Yeah.
still hang and talk with people.
Sure.
But when you're,
It's
let
not
me tell you
as-
something.
maybe.
For me, as a single guy, when I go out on dates or whatever, or lunch dates, or for me, I try, like, if I see somebody who's like ordering drinks on the first date, like maybe a drink's okay, but like if they're ordering 2, 3, 4 drinks, it's just a red flag for me at all. And I just don't, like, I don't need it. People always think, I've had people come up to me and going, dude, remember like 8 years ago when we got crap faced at like this one party? I'm like, no, actually, I remember it because I was sober. You were hammered. I remember it exactly.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm just have a lot of energy. I just look like I might be drunk, but I'm really not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for this guy, like, I don't know if he is at a place where he doesn't want to be around it or he doesn't want to be
near it, but if it's been a part of your life for that long, it's almost hard to believe that you can continue socializing the way you socialize or dating the way you date. You know, like we're also in an era where online dating is not
Gross.
taboo. It's not gross, especially if you approach it with integrity and honesty and all of these things. So those places are available.
Couple firewalls.
But I do like the idea of meeting girls through like, or meeting somebody through
You want
A
to
friend.
through like friends
Or an event.
or an event or going to joining a group of something that you like. Like
The
if
group is
you
good.
like writing, then join a writers club, or if you like photography, join a photography club. And then if you want a first date, then you want to go out to eat, maybe doing it for a lunch date, because I feel like you're less inclined to order alcohol during a lunch date than you would like going out to dinner.
Right.
It seems more like a wine event than lunch. People aren't going to be going out for hard alcohol on a lunch date, you know.
And if you identify those things that you love,
yeah.
and are participating in them, you are literally making yourself more attractive to people. You're filling yourself with joy, and
That makes a lot of sense.
and you are the most attractive version of yourself when you are engaging in the things that you're passionate about.
That is absolutely
And you're finding
true.
something to replace that. And
When
a
you're
purpose.
doing something you love, people see you in your natural element. When you can genuinely enjoy something and people see that,
And you get giddy and giggly.
right?
Uh-huh.
That's either really attractive or really not. I went on a date with a girl and I go,
Exactly.
yeah. So do you ever karaoke? She goes, oh my God, never. I hate karaoke. I want to kill karaoke. Or so I'm like, check, please. I'm going to hit the Olive Garden. Okay, so when you guys have a fight, I think John told me this. Could have been a different couple, but I sort of remember. I sort of remember John said, whenever you guys get in arguments, whenever you guys are upset with each other, you don't go to bed angry. Was that you that said that, John?
Well, that's just like kind of a
Kirsten
common.
goes, wrong.
That's a common thing. No, I think. No,
we've-
what's that look?
I think we've gone to bed angry, or at
A
least
couple times, but for
It
the
doesn't
main
work out
part,
well.
We've heard that advice, and it's sage advice for sure. And we've normally been pretty good about like, oh, you know what? Let's try to work this out, or talk it out. And sometimes annoyingly, but when we do finally talk it out and it gets resolved,
Has there ever been a
Right?
thought in your minds you're like,
What do you
I want to
think?
leave him. I want to leave him.
Well, I think
How
all
do I do
couples
this?
have had.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a couple in the world that hasn't had that thought.
yeah.
You know,
a couple or a person, I never did.
really, that's great.
John, you've never thought of
I would
ever.
never leave you.
Was there ever a moment where you're like, you know what, Kirsten, I can't be married?
I've made a
I
mistake.
think
No.
I think we both have different styles of fighting. I feel like John, I'm more aggressive, like I'm more vocal in my fighting, and he's more passive aggressive.
What does he do?
Just quotes his own.
He's
movies.
more mopey, like, and he'll be more
I will
quiet.
I will
and
silent
he'll
treatment
sulk,
for a little bit, and I'll clean.
and I just like ball up in anger, and then I'm like,
Silent
Yeah.
treatment and
Yep,
clean.
that's me.
Right?
I'll
Yeah.
start doing those dishes
then-
so hard.
and then it ticks
Yeah,
me
'cause
off.
it's
Like,
like,
then I get
I
super
gotta
angry
do
about it. I'm like,
something
why don't you
focused.
just tell me what's wrong?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's like, you know what's
if
wrong.
you can't figure out
Oh
what's
my
wrong, then
gosh.
something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Do you say that?
No.
No,
Well,
That's what I'm feeling.
but yeah, there's a lot of huffing, a lot of.
Yeah,
there's-
I shut down too. I'm a
Yeah,
there's
and then-
people say there's fight or flight, but there's also fold, and I'm a
Yes.
folder where it's just
Fully,
like
but also I can't let it just pass at the same time.
Right,
I will
right.
do whatever it is I'm showing,
right.
like whether it's the cleaning or the moping or the
But then he'll
sulking.
make a passing comment. Oh, I don't know. You know, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Do you know what?
Yeah.
and does that drive your wife crazy? Because it drives me crazy.
The passive aggression.
Yes. It would
Yeah, no,
drive
I
anyone crazy.
it's
I
it's.
get it.
oh my god.
Dude,
I
that's
recently
why-
heard. Was it?
That's why I do it, is to drive
Was
you
it in
crazy.
one of our interviews that somebody said they asked an older couple how they made it through 60 years of marriage or whatever, and they said we just never fell out of love with each other at the same time.
Oh, that's a smart.
Was that
comment.
Seth
Like-
Green, I think?
Maybe it wasn't in one of ours.
Are they a
Yeah.
60-year-old couple?
No,
It wasn't
But
with
it's-
us?
Green and his
essentially-
6-year-old wife.
He's looking
that
good.
there are these cycles of constantly falling in and out
Oh,
of love
no,
with
it was
each other.
it was Hardwick.
Hardwick,
Hardwick
right.
and his wife Lydia.
Because I think that's an interesting. As long as you don't fall out of love with each other at the same time, then the cycle comes back around.
Again, I can't relate to you guys because you're all married, but I can say this: you're talking fight or flight or fold, where you just kind of go. I had a moment where I went on a date. It was a while ago, And I went on a date with this woman, and we had talked before, and it was cute and friendly and flirtatious. And I was like, this is, and something happened. I, on my life, thought it was going like everything, like, hey, I feel great. I'm normal. And she's like, why are you acting like this or whatever? And I go, and it was absolutely like, I thought she was joking. I go, what do you mean? She goes, I don't know. You're a little intense. And I go, I don't know. Maybe I'm nervous to go on this first date with you, but I'm actually having a really great time. And then I started questioning myself, like, am I acting different? How am I acting different? But I noticed she was acting different. We got into the restaurant, and she said something, and I was trying to be cute, and then she goes, I'm going to have this. And I go, this. And I go, the lady will have the steak, whatever. And, me being a joke. And she goes, I can order for myself. And it was in that tone. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. And
These are what we call red flags.
Well, hang on. It was. What happened was for the first time, instead of fighting back or saying, whoa, what, like part of me want to go, whoa, chill your grill. Are you kidding me? I was just being,
your grill.
I was being fun and like, I was just being,
chill your grill.
I was playing around. But I was like, no, there's no point in this at all. So what happened was I froze. I felt scared. I got like really numb and tingly and like climbing the rope in gym class, but the opposite. And then I sat there and I go, and I shut down. Chris.
Dissociation.
And I felt like I want to go, oh my God, is she going to get up and leave and make a scene? Is she some psycho? Is she going to say like I was weird? Like I was starting to think of all these things that were going to happen that didn't happen. And I started getting anxiety. And she goes, are you okay? And I go, I remember swallowing like that, looking at her like, gulp. Like I know she saw me swallow. Like, I go, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just really, I don't know. I just feel really like defeated. She goes, why? I go, I just feel like I feel like a child. Like I did something wrong here. I was just trying to be fun. And you looked at me and you said this. And then we started talking about it, and it turned, and I just looked at her and I said, hey, immediately, this is the first thing I go, you and I are going to be good friends. You're awesome, and I'm awesome, and we're going to have a great dinner and a great rest of the night, but there's no pressure, there's no nothing, we're just going to have fun, we're friends. And she goes, thank you. Because I think that's what she was trying to do. She was trying to
deflect, and
she wanted to deflect for some reason, and then we started talking about it, and I understood why. I understood why she was doing that, but she did it in a way that I couldn't possibly understand. No human could understand, because what she was doing is she had gone through something, and she was just getting out of something, and she wasn't prepared for this. She wasn't ready. She didn't want to do this. So instead of saying, hey, I'm not ready, she did it in a passive-aggressive way. And we worked it out, and the next day we talked, and it was fine, and we're cool, and everything's great. But it was just a very uncomfortable thing for me. But I know what you're saying in terms of folding. I was just like, I lost all my energy.
That's the interesting part about it, though. You didn't fold. You actually got vulnerable and honest with a stranger.
yeah.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
And it all worked out, right?
Yeah, that was a great response. Like,
that wasn't fight, flight, or fold. That was a mature adult response to a situation.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God.
I feel like a child who did something wrong.
That's what I said. And but then I felt like
that's very
too
adult.
vulnerable for saying that. I felt like, oh my God, I'm such a pussy. That's what I felt like. I was a pussy. And it happened again when I was on this date. Well, when I was dating this girl for a while. And she said something very mean and rude. And it was vicious. It felt vicious. And I looked at her and I go, I'm going to go. I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to think about stuff. She goes, what do you mean? I go, you hurt my feelings right now. I don't feel really good right now. And I need to leave. I don't want to say anything that I regret. I just want to walk out, and I just need some time alone. And I walked out, and it's just like, because I knew the opposite would be like, that gets you nowhere. And for me now, it's like, we could either talk about this, and I couldn't at that time. I'm like, I'm leaving. I can't. You hurt my feelings. I'm out of here. And I think when you say you hurt my feelings to someone, they're not used to that. Like, you hurt me here. I'm walking away. And now they have to reflect. They'll sort of go, okay, what did I say? What did I do? For some reason, it did work. I came back in a half an hour, and she said, I'm sorry. And then I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to handle it other than leaving.
It's hard. There's no professional way to handle an argument, a disagreement, a fight. It's just everybody can go into one of those modes. You're right. I mean, maybe that is the best. There's like, oh no, there's a healthy, for sure. I believe that you're right. That it is. I mean, having the disagreement in the first place, I was like, everybody's going to disagree about something. It's just how you react to it, and I think for sure, like, we will have those moments.
What are those moments like now? Now that you've been married so long, what's a moment that you can recall?
Less, don't you think?
I don't know if it's much less, but I think.
I was really hoping to get that.
Scorned again.
Well, I mean, I think the difference is when you're married, you get to know each other so much better that when fights come up, you know each other well enough to know, all right, it's time to actually discuss it, or it's time to walk away and let them have a moment, or what's making them mad, so you can diffuse it the right way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like for you really did seem to handle both those situations really well. Like with the walking away, that actually reminds me, we have a son who has severe anxiety issues. And when he gets to the point where he's just like yelling, you can't have a discussion with him. Like he's
no longer online.
He's no longer online. You can't rationalize with him because the part of his brain that can hear you is completely like off, and you just have to like either just show affection and hold him until he calms down, or just allow him time to calm down, and then you can, hey buddy, what blah blah blah. And it is one of those times where I feel like in fights sometimes they're just like, I've done it, I've freaked out on Jon and yelled, and there's nothing he could have said. He could have told me forever, here's the facts, here's what needs to be said.
Nothing would matter at that point.
There is nothing he could have said.
Maybe divorce time.
But the minute I calmed down and got out of that state of anger, I'm smart enough to know, whoa, that was
right.
I was really inappropriate.
Do you apologize?
And I know, and even after that, I'm like, wow, I was wrong. That was stupid. Like
you tell him that?
I've gone back to him and said, you know what? Like, I'm sorry, but what I'm saying? Like, yes, I have, or. Not as often as I should. That's true.
I don't hear it a lot,
but you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like there's those yelling.
I feel it.
There's yelling arguments where the person you have to understand is yelling so much that they have their rationality part of their brain is shut off, and you just have to walk away and let them get back. Or there's arguments that that you can have a conversation and you can, like you did with the first girl, where you have to be vulnerable. And I feel like when you're married. Long and you've had that time, the person well enough to know which type of argument you're having.
Yeah.
Which I can't imagine going on dates and
It's
not
brutal.
knowing a person at all and knowing their back.
Yeah,
you don't know their background. You don't know what their current situations are. You don't know what you're dealing with.
Right.
So having an argument with them, forget about it.
It just doesn't make sense. It's
Don't
not
know.
worth it.
And
This is done. This is the last time you're going to see them. Goodbye.
And the only
Good day, sir.
I
What movie is
said
that from?
good day, sir.
Yes. What's that from?
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Actually, the book was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
But the only productive way to get through those two examples you were talking about, and I'm sure through the ones, is to discuss what you're feeling. You cannot argue thoughts. You cannot argue opinions. You can't argue action. Like even my wife and I are still working on this, getting better and better. But even trying to describe, like, here's what happened at the party. Nobody can argue with what you're feeling.
True.
And so regardless of what your version of the story is or my version of the story, like regardless, I'm here feeling this thing. I would like to not feel this thing. So can you help me?
I think what you just said is profoundly important. And being that I do react a certain way, because what happens is, to add to what you're saying is, let's say you're at a party and somebody's talking to someone and the other person later that night says, is like not really happy. And you're like, what's the matter? I don't know. I just felt like you guys were really flirting and it was inappropriate. And in your mind, you're like, are you freaking crazy? That's one of my friends. I'm defensive. And I'm like, that's like my friend. I've been knowing her for 20 years. She's my, are you kidding me? What? That's ridiculous. Because you're like, that's not what the problem is. What Chris says is it's how they're feeling. You have to just know that whatever they're feeling is what they're feeling and it's real. Right? And just acknowledge it and say, listen, I'm so sorry that you feel that way. I really am truly sorry, and I just want you to know that I would never do that, and that was not my intentions. And this person I've known for a long time, and the way you handle, the way you respond to their feelings is probably really important.
Yeah. I mean,
I like probably.
Yeah, it always
By
comes
the
down to
time
how
we
they
get to
feel.
episode
But it
100,
is.
we'll figure out if it is or not.
Everything comes down to perception.
Hey guys, this has been an incredible treat. I want to just end on, it seems like, it's a kind of a moot point to ask you this, but, in brief, I know what you're going to say, but what are you ultimately thankful for? What is it like when we talk about what we're grateful for every week on the show? And it's like, is there something this week or something that you feel like I'm just grateful about this, or
Something that's making you feel good in life? Could be music, could be a hobby
something
you're into,
recently
could
that
be
happened, something that you're doing, something that you're just, is there anything off the bat that you could think of?
Right off, I think I go straight to what I pray about. It's like,
What do you pray about?
it's like, well, when you just give thanks, you have to remind yourself, I say, I'm still married now, but I'm married. I have a family. I have wonderful kids, wonderful wife. I'm like, there's so much to be thankful for that I'm thankful that I have things to be thankful for and not feeling like, I don't know. I'm thankful very much. For me, I'm thankful for largely optimistic and positive outlook on things. That helps me with my perspective and how I see the world. And it helps me get through so much that probably might be hard for others, but it just helps me. And that's what I'm grateful that I have, people around me that sounds like cheesy. I'm also grateful for good music.
Kirsten?
I guess recently I've been grateful that Jon has a job that allows me to also pursue other things that I want to do. Like, I'm really grateful for my kids, and I love being a stay-at-home mom, but I love that I can also have things outside the home so that I don't go crazy at home, like recently, I'm not pitching anything, but I've started trying to write a screenplay on a book that I am really interested about. So I'm doing that. And I'm grateful for a husband that is home a lot so I can try and work on that. And that I can also have a job, like I teach at a school, and I can have that on the side that I enjoy doing and not have the stress of I have to be home all the time.
Right.
But doing those kind of things make it so I am a better mom because I have something outside the home that helps fulfill me, and then I can go home and give that back to my kids. So.
Do you know what we're mutually grateful for, you and I?
What?
What do you think of?
Sailing.
Oh, Christopher Cross and Yacht Rock.
And Yacht Rock. We love it. This has been fantastic.
Right.
Did you have fun? I really enjoyed this. I could talk for, I'm like, oh my gosh, we've been going on.
Should we go out on some yacht rock?
Can we do that?
I don't know.
You can.
Let's go
sing it.
out on something that we're allowed
I bet
to
you
do.
could sing it.
We could probably. Well, let's not fall down to paradise. At least it's not for me. But if the wind is right, you can
My
run
voice is
away.
terrible.
Come on, do it.
Find serenity.
Come on, hit him back.
Oh, the canvas can do miracles.
Thank you for
Just
listening.
You wait and see.
We'll see you next week
Believe
on the In Love
in me.
podcast. And once again, a huge thanks to our presenting sponsor, Smile Direct Club. For huge discounts, go to smiledirectclub.com/podcast and use our offer code INLOVE.